the impact of the Silk Road on political conflict in the Middle East, case study, Qatar, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, maybe add Syria. About my background of study, the Silk Road is one of the most...
Samir, can you make it big? Can you enlarge it?
What?
Can you click? I don't know how they... can you click that thing in there so that it becomes big? You play that play button there. That's next to it. To the left. Not right. Left. Left some more. Left. Go left some more.
What?
Okay. Press F5. Press F5 or function 5. Function 5. Press function 5.
5. Okay.
Function 5. FN5. FN, the function key. There. Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you say good in Arabic? طيب.
Yes. Okay.
That's good in Arabic, right?
Background of the study. The Silk Road is considered one of the most important trade routes historically, and China tried to revive and through its initiative and through its economic diplomacy. Therefore, during the era of Chinese President Xi Jinping, a new project appeared in 2013, which officially became called the Belt and Road Initiative, through which China seeks to strengthen the paths of its global ascent. That is, the Silk Road is a new global phenomenon that has an impact on the international political economy. Problem statement, about the problem statement. The study comes to examine the nature of the Silk Road in general and to identify the nature of the Chinese initiative known as the New Silk Road. Further, it seeks to identify the nature of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative and to investigate how China employs this initiative as economic diplomacy and the impact of the diplomacy on the nature of the Chinese foreign policies from a political point of view. The problem of study is to know the nature of Chinese initiative, the New Silk Road, as a new global phenomenon on political conflict in the Middle East. Case study, Qatar, Yemen, Saudi Arabia. Research objectives. In terms of the main objectives of the study, it can be said that there are several objectives, the most important of which are: the first one, introducing the historical Silk Road and how to develop in what is now known as the Belt and Road Initiative, discuss and clarify how China used this Belt and Road Initiative as economic diplomacy in its foreign policies and in terms of the general philosophy, tools, and result of the diplomacy. Finally, clarify the impact of Chinese Silk Road diplomacy on its international political positions, especially its position on some Middle Eastern issues, such as Qatar and the Saudi war on Yemen, as example, through which we try to show the impact of Chinese economic diplomacy on political conflict in the countries of the case study. research questions, the main problem of the study stems from the main question: what is the impact of the Belt and Road Initiative as a new global phenomenon in China's economic diplomacy and political conflict in the Middle East? From the previous question, we can derive several questions. What is the impact of Silk Road diplomacy as economic diplomacy on Chinese foreign policies for the case study countries? Second one, what is the political impact of Chinese economic diplomacy on the countries of the case study? Third, what is the economic impact of Chinese economic diplomacy on the countries of the case study?
Let me know what you think of that.
Significance of the study. The importance of the study and its theoretical aspect stems from knowing that nature of Silk Road diplomacy as a new global phenomenon that has its implication and as the main diplomacy that greatly affects the nature of Chinese foreign policies and the nature of their attitudes towards international issues. On the other hand, the importance of the study lies in its practical aspect, in that it seeks to serve as a guide or as a step that can be used by the Arabs in the way necessary for the nature of dealing with China. In other words, the study can present a recommendation on how to deal with China in a pragmatic manner, which would guarantee the Arab-Chinese political support as it is sorry. It is one of the most prominent countries which qualitative political wide internationally. Sorry, bro.
It's okay, it's okay. Take your time, take your time. Go slow, go slow.
The study methodology. This study relies mainly on the descriptive analytical approach, which is mainly concerned with describing and analyzing Chinese economic diplomacy based on the Belt and Road Initiative, where the research will seek to construct that initiative, identify its geographical scope and its main tools, and examine how China employs that initiative as economic diplomacy. Moreover, this study will use the descriptive statistical method, which will be devoted to descripting and analyzing the quantitative data related to the diplomacy of the Chinese Silk Road, especially in terms of Chinese investment that it gives to countries located on the Silk Road, and in terms of trade and energy exchanges between China and some Middle East countries. Thank you, Prof.
All right, okay. All right. Okay, that's sweet and short and sweet. It's good. You take a deep breath. You need to drink. You can drink some water and cleanse your throat. You don't feel comfortable, so take it easy. All right, you have the front page, the impact of Silk Road on political conflicts in Middle East, case study of Qatar, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. All right, let's look at the title, right? Suppose we maintain this title, the impact of Silk Road on political conflicts. Can you think of a different word to use besides conflict, just in case there are other patterns that emerge from your findings? For instance, the impact of Silk Road on the political relations. So because the impact can be not just conflict, it can be cooperation, it can be competition, it can be a mixture between conflict and cooperation, and many other things that can come up from the Silk Road, right? So you replace the word conflicts to relations, political relations. But up to you. If you want to focus on conflicts, then you need to frame your discussion at the beginning to say that yes, there are other things that are happening, other relations that are emerging, but I want to focus mainly on conflict. You can say that, so that through the writing, to the thesis design, you protect yourself before you enter the viva stage. They say, well, the examiner say, well, no, a lot of governments, a lot of countries are benefiting from investment from China. In Indonesia, the infrastructure in Indonesia, there's a lot of it is funded by China, a lot, right? So China gives a lot of loans, soft loans, many type of loans to countries in Africa and many countries and all that. So as far as some governments are concerned, they are happy. As far as some communities are concerned, they are happy with that infrastructure development. So I'm just suggesting that to you so you can look at that. Yeah. The other thing is that the word Silk Road, whether you want, probably you want to put in the word the Chinese or China's Silk Road, right? Or I think there's another term they use is BRI, right? Belt and Road Initiative, right? A Belt and Road Initiative, because it's not just by land, but it's also by the sea. BRI. I think you know that too. So maybe you want to use that term. That term is much more commonplace right now, much more mainstream. So you want to put in the word China somewhere there, and BRI instead of just Silk Road. And if you talk about the Silk Road, it should be the new Silk Road, not the old Silk Road. Maybe China talk about new Silk Road, right? So BRI is the Belt and Road Initiative there. So there are two things, one China, the other one the BRI, and the third one, three things, the word conflicts with relations. And then as far as the second line is concerned, what you do is put a colon, colon, and then a case study of Qatar, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. Case study of Qatar, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. Right, so you take out the brackets, this case study of Qatar, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Right. In fact, Samir, if I were to look at the title, I wanted to suggest that you go back to the title again. Go back to the first slide again. I want to suggest, but it's up to you, right? You can even remove the word the impact of. So it can be Chinese Belt and Road Initiative and political relations in Middle East, or the connection, but you can maintain the impact, right? So because if you would use the word impact, you need to establish that your findings, your research, your methodology need to establish that relations is an impact from the BRI, right?
That's mean the title, the Silk Road,
China's Belt and Road Initiative and political relations in Middle East, in the Middle East. ... colon, right? Case study of Qatar, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia.
By the way, this already okay.
Yeah.
Already recording or no, Prof?
Oh, you want to record it? Yeah, yes, we are.
Yeah, please, Prof, because...
Yes, yeah, it is. So you can look at this again. Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean.
All right. Okay. Let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next one. Okay. The background of study. You got to make sure the name Xi Jinping is the right spelling there. Yeah. Is that the right spelling?
Yeah, Xi Jinping.
Yeah. You sure it's the right spelling? You got to double check that. I think it's an X, not a sh. There's a lot of Chinese friends you have here. You can ask them.
First, I put X, then she. Okay.
Okay. Ask him. Ximin, is it right? Is it SHI or X?
习近平 XI.
X is X.
Yeah, XI.
XI. So this one would be different meaning now. Right? Yeah. Okay. Right. This is a minor thing, but it's very important even the spelling, right? So in this background of study, you do have where is it that you say where another new project here? There's an assumption here that you make that it is a conflict, right? I think in the background you do want to talk about there are also, you can say pros and cons, right? There's a benefit, advantages and disadvantages, that kind of thing. So as a scholar, as a social scientist, you want to show that you have a bigger view, right? So it's not just conflicts that are creating, they're also creating some perceived benefits, at least by certain sectors of the country, right? Yeah, well, in Malaysia too, a lot of investment coming from China. There you go. Now, let's look at your research objective. Move to the research objective. Research objective. A problem statement. This study comes to examine the nature of Silk Road in general. Okay. All right. Next, let's go to your research objectives. Your research objectives looks like a paragraph. Now, yeah. So what you want to do with your research objectives, at least visually, you want to itemize it 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of putting like a paragraph, so that it's clear for the person or the audience who read this. Yeah, you got that, Samir? You
Yes.
enumerate it. You itemize it. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
In a line, in one straight line, instead of one big paragraph, right? Okay. So let's look at your.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like 1, 2, 3, like one line there instead of one big paragraph. You break it 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's look at your research objectives. You say number 1, introducing the historical Silk Road and how it developed and what is now known as the Belt and Road Initiative. Okay. That need not be your research objectives. That can be in your literature review. So you want to remove this from your research objectives. And you can talk about it as your background and all that. So you can remove that. Number 2, discuss and clarify how China uses Belt and Road Initiative as economic diplomacy in its foreign policies and in terms of general philosophy, tools, and results of this diplomacy. Okay. Number 2, it's a bit tricky. When you discuss it, this has been discussed, it has been explained, has been researched by many. Number 2, so you got to find a different angle to how you want to clarify, how you want to discuss the Chinese BRI as an economic diplomacy, right? So you've got to find a different angle, a different slant to this objective. Right. So you can talk about since you're looking at the what is it? Yeah, the 3 different countries, right? Maybe you want to do a comparative study of how the BRI has been implemented, and the degree, the PhD is under what field of study now, Samir? What's your field of study? Is it political economy?
Yeah.
Political economy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So you can talk about a comparative study of the BRI initiative in these three countries, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and since it's political economy, you can look at the reception and perception or the discourse of the Belt and Road Initiative in these three different countries. So you look at Yemen, you see how Yemen responds to this. You can look at Qatar. Is it Qatar the other one? Qatar, yeah. It looks at how Qatar responding to this. What is the discourse? What is the debates, right? You can capture it from the newspaper. You can capture it from the government statement, right? Because you are looking at from a political economic point of view. So
Because Qatar, the relation with China's in the band of, I think, 2 billion. I don't know what.
Yes, strong, very strong. Yes, and Qatar is a trading nation, so you know it is strong in trade, and that will be something to look at. So that number two is to do the comparative comparative analysis, comparative to conduct a comparative study of the economic diplomacy of BRI in the three different countries, as well as the reception or the perception of the countries towards this what is it to this initiatives, right? Okay. So all right. So I want to. You should have three. Each clarify the impact of Chinese political positions, especially just. So what we should try to show the impact. All right. Okay. So we are removing number one as your research objective. Number two, we retain, but do to examine or to analyze to conduct a comparative study, comparative analysis of the PRI initiative in three different countries, and then make the new research question is what is the reception and the perception, the response, from comparatively from three different countries, right? So that would be another research question, right? You hear me there, Samir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, number one, I will delete it.
The number one, you delete
Number
it.
two.
Number two.
Number one.
Number two would be number one. Only thing is that you add the point about to conduct a comparative analysis between the three countries, right?
Yeah.
And number three is to look at how the three countries comparatively respond or receive or perceive the BRI initiative, right? And number three is clarify the problem as an international political positions. Position. You see, this is I'm not sure about Chinese foreign policy. What will be their approach, and I'm not sure. I do not know their foreign policy. Fully understand the foreign policy, but I think Chinese foreign policy has been a non-intervention type of foreign policy for a long time. So I'm concerned if you put this as your So here you're looking at Chinese. Back on this international. You're looking at Chinese international political positions, or you're looking at the international political positions of these three countries? China or the three countries?
China and 3 countries.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So China will have its BRI, which is that you can analyze, that you can look at the investment, you can look at the policies, the projects, and all that, right? But China also has its foreign policy, which can be something that's separate from the BRI. BRI is part of the foreign policy, but then they also have their political, international policies that are separate from the BRI, right? So you also want to look at that then, am I right? Or you're looking at that too? You know what I'm talking about, right? When, say, sometimes China would take a stand about... China does take stand, right? China would be allied to Pakistan, for instance, versus India, right? So China has that policy. China would take will be a stronger ally to North Korea than South Korea, right? There's something there, right? Are you looking at that kind of foreign policy, or you're just looking at just BRI, or you know what I mean? Here you are just looking at BRI.
No. BRI contain one of the part of foreign policy of China.
Yeah, but BRI is just one part of foreign policy of China.
One part of the foreign policy of China.
That's right.
It's not the main, but one part.
One part. That's right. China foreign policy is bigger than that, including the what Hanzhen is studying just now about Confucius values, Chinese education, and all that. There's another part of it. There's also, that's also part of Chinese foreign policy. But here, are you looking at the parts that is not covered by BRI? Are you looking at that as well? Because the way you phrase here is that you're looking just on the BRI part. Can you see that? Because China neutral stance is also part of its foreign policy, right? China usually, when it comes to Security Council, Chinese state usually abstain. It's the normal. Whenever US will oppose or support, China abstain. Usually, not all the time, of course. So, are you looking at that part, the overall Chinese foreign policy, or
no, just the Silk Road?
Just what? Sorry.
Just the Silk Road.
Just the BRI then.
Or the economic diplomacy.
Economic diplomacy. All right.
In soft power.
Just the economic policy, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can focus on that. So you want to see the how about instead of using impact, what is the connection? Can you use that word? Connection of Chinese economic policy on the three countries' political positions. So when you use the word connection, you are not committing to you are not putting the proof of burden of impact. You don't have to show impact. You can just show connection. But it's up to you. It's up to you.
I need to see the impact because Qatar feels our relation. I tell you before, maybe I add Syria because the Silk Road across the Syria. Syria. The Syria now crisis or war.
Yeah. In fact, if you look at the countries they have chosen, they are all Gulf countries. Qatar, Saudi, Yemen are Gulf countries.
Yemen,
right?
not contain of the Gulf countries, by the way.
Yeah. Yemen is in the south, Saudi, Qatar, right?
Yeah,
But
but
the
in the
silk
Gulf,
BRI
as a Gulf, it's not Yemen, not from the GCC.
no,
in
no, no.
Gulf countries.
But it is in the Gulf. It's in the
Yeah,
Gulf.
yeah, in the
Yeah,
same area.
yeah, it's but not the. But if you're talking about Syria, yeah, because it's from it's connected to the mainland, right? I'm sorry, if you're talking about countries outside of the Gulf, then it's connected to the mainland. Syria is on the side of
Middle
the.
East. Yeah.
Okay, so you can continue to use the impact, but let's see how far, what kind of data you get out of this, and then we will look at your progress on this one. Yeah, so I'm just concerned whether the Belt and Road Initiative has very little impact. I'm concerned about that, which is fine as well. It's not a problem, but I'm thinking about the richness of your analysis later on. So whether it creates any kind of it will contribute to the thickness of your findings as a concern I have. But you can maintain it first. Let's see how far you can go with this. I know what impact it has. Maybe it does have impact that you can dig and show and expose it more, right? Its position in the Middle East, such as Qatar and the Saudi war, examples through which. Okay, conflicts in the. All right, these are research objectives. Let's move on to your research questions now. What time is it now? 30. Okay. What is the impact of? So now your research question now, just change your research question based on your research objectives just now. Yeah. Yeah. So your research objectives will be the guide for your research questions. Just shift it into questions. Then you have your research questions. Now I want to look at continue the next slide. The next slide. Okay, significance of the study. Uh, Significance of study. Remove the word the there. Don't need the significance of study. Right. If you use the word on the other hand, you must have on the one hand before you have the word on the other hand, right? Make sure you have on the one hand and then you have on the other hand, right? Arab Chinese will guarantee the Arab Chinese political support as it is one of the most prominent countries with qualitative political weight internationally. The Arabs Chinese political. So Arabs, you have apostrophe there. Apostrophe. You're referring to Chinese political support of the Arabs, right? Arabs, and then the other one you have the word qualitative political weight internationally. I'm not sure what the qualitative political weight mean. So if you maybe you don't need the word qualitative, yeah, from your countries with political weight internationally. You don't need the word qualitative there. But it's okay. That's not a big problem. Yeah. Let's look at method or methodology. So instead of study methodology, put a research methodology. Remove the study, replace it with research. So research methodology. So it says the study relies on mainly descriptive analytical approach, which is mainly concerned with describing and analyzing the economic diplomacy based on the Belt Road Initiative, where the researcher will seek to deconstruct that initiative and identify its geographical scope and its main tools and examine how China employs the initiative as economic diplomacy. All right. The study will use descriptive statistical method, which will be devoted to describing and analyzing quantitative data relating to diplomacy of Chinese Silk Road, especially in terms of investment that it gives to countries located to the Silk Road, and in terms of trade and energy exchanges between China and Middle Eastern countries. You do not want to limit yourself since you're doing political economic in a political economic field. You do not want to limit yourself to descriptive statistical method. Yeah, you do want to look at the contracts. What kind of conditions? What kind of contracts? You want to look at the types of loans that is under BRI. You want to look at the investment policies of the three countries as well, right? So these are not just descriptive statistical method. So I've mentioned a few things there. You want to include that in your methodology, research methodology. Under political economy, the research methodology is much more flexible. So you want to name a few things in here. So the other thing is you also want to look at identify the actors in your whom you want to examine. So the state actors, maybe the Chamber of Commerce, right? And of course, China is another actor, right? So the state actors can be represented by the Ministry of Trade and Investment. So you identify all this, Samaria, in your methodology as the actors that you want to analyze or examine, right? Also, since your second objective want to look at the reception or perception or response, then you also want to capture certain highlights in the media, right? So maybe the media will give you an indication of the response of certain actors, right? So you want to highlight that. So in political economy, you can use that as data as well, right? So media can be another source, another actor that you can look at.
I ask you, Prof, what about the questionnaire for expertise in the field political economy?
What about the questionnaire?
Questionnaire, yeah.
Okay. So for political economy, you are not necessarily doing the type of questionnaire that you're analyzing the migrant workers. Standard side of you might have different types of questions for different actors, right? So when you ask representatives from the Trade and Investment Ministry, your questions might be different, right? And when you ask some experts, it might be different as well. So you will need to tailor-make different type of questions. Some questions might be the same, right? We can say, how do you perceive, how do you see, how you interpret the Belt and Road Initiative introduced by China. You can have that as an open question. But then you can have more specific question with different, Chamber of Commerce, you can have more different questions, right? Maybe you see some conflicts or some issues that you want to have targeted questioning, you can do that. So under political economy, the field of political economy, you do not need to have standardized questions all the time. You have some core questions that are standard, but not the same questions to the same people necessarily, right? But if you are comparing between the three governments, then you should have something that is comparatively comparable. So when you ask the Chamber of Commerce of Yemen, the same set of question, more or less the same set of question to the Saudis, the Qataris, right? So more or less, yeah. But sometimes there's some issues that is much more specific to Yemen. Then you ask the Yemen people or Yemen representatives differently. But you do need, what I want you to do is now to list down the possible actors, the possible sources of data. Yeah, the possible sources of the, including the documents that you want to look at, the statistics, like which means the investment, the yearly investment in the last 3 years, last 4 years, before BRI and after BRI, right? That is the kind of thing that you want to use in your in your research. Otherwise, you remember you're showing the impacts, right? You want to show the this engagement from China with the Middle Eastern states, right? So you want to show that, right? So all your data must be able to answer your research questions. And the stronger they can answer research questions, the better. So, but the good thing about political economy as a field of study, it does not have to have the type of representativeness that, you know, random sampling, that kind of thing, unless you're doing some kind of, you know, polls, that kind of thing. You're not doing polling. You're not doing that. Okay. So that's how you improve your research methodology. Yeah, Samir, you took note. Yeah. What is it I want to say? So those are my inputs for you. You have any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. You should rest more, drink a lot of water. I don't know what to advise, but I just want to know what kind of virus, what variant of the virus. Delta.
Actually, I don't know. Actually,
know.
I am very tired. I make the test inside home. طبعا all country inside Doha, I think coronavirus. And my wife already doctor tell me sit down, give me vitamin.
Oh, okay.
Panadol.
Your wife is a
My
doctor.
temperature very high. My then I can't talk. I can't walk. At this moment, if I need make tea or anything, I feel I am very tired. I don't want to go outside home. I don't
Yes,
know.
yes.
But I make test more than 5 times. Corona. Nowadays, I'm very good.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Pray that you
Alhamdulillah.
recover fast. What is it? Shafiqullah. Shafakallah. Yeah.
أفاك الله وإياكم bro. Can I ask you something, bro?
Yes, you can.
You see the difference between the first discussion and this discussion, the development or no?
Oh yes, this is progress. This is much more focused than before. Not last time, but this is fine because usually many other students when they go through the first stage of the PhD, the process is they go and the supervisor will ask them to read, but I do not ask you to do that that much. I ask you straight away to make your presentation. So, but this should be an iterative process. You read, you present, you discuss, you conceptualize, improve research question. Until you have your compass becomes strong, right? Then otherwise you get sunk, immersed into the reading, and then you do not know what to do, and you go too far, right? But this is good. This is good progress. Immediately, there's a sense of direction of what you're doing. So definitely, I see the clarity now, and clarity is important in this journey of PhD, right? This you have a compass, right? You have a compass now. Are you yourself? Are you clearer now with your research?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Good.
I need more, but I think it's
Sure.
good.
I also
will,
yeah.
go back to the recorder and step by step.
Yeah. Yes. You know what? If I were to, this is not my PhD, but if I were to look at this PhD, to enrich this PhD, right, to strengthen this PhD, is the contrast between China and America.
Yeah.
US will have investment in Qatar, Saudi, and Yemen or not? I don't know. So look at the different policies of these two countries. It'd be fascinating. You can see because US is deeply involved in Middle East. I mean, they are involved in everywhere in the world. The global cup, right? They want to be the police of the world. And eventually, now they have problem with their own country, right? So. But this is how I would.
No. Wait, Prof. Still record.
We're still recording.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and then
Thank you for this idea.
welcome. Then I think there's a lot of data from America, and America changes other people's political dynamics, create political conflicts wherever they go.